Pokemon Legends Galar is rumored to be the next Pokemon game, or at least the next Pokemon Legends game. That Game Freak's going to develop and put out over the next couple of years, or in the next couple of years. We'll have to wait and see. But I do think if we end up getting a Pokemon Legends Galar game, this would be an excellent opportunity to finally get a Dragon-type Eevee evolution. The last evolution for Eevee that we got was in the Kalos region with Sylveon. It was kind of weird. For 2 prior generations, we would get 2 Eevee, like basically 2 evolutions, together in a pair being debuted together. Sylveon was all by itself as the fairy type. Kind of makes sense. Fairy was a new type. And I think for a long time, people were expecting a dragon or a steel type evolution. And I think we could finally get it with Legends Galar. I do actually, to be honest with you, let's break it back. Let's break it down. The first time we got new evolutions for Eevee were in Generation 2. Second time we got evolutions for Eevee, we got 2 of them. That was in Generation 4. That's 2 years later. Then we got Sylveon in Generation 6. That's 2 generations later. Again, me included, I was expecting to see a new Eevee evolution be added in the Galar region. It would have been so great in this ancient, English-inspired, UK-inspired, Pokemon region. It would have been so cool to emphasize the myths and legends of this region by saying Eevee actually gets a Dragon-type Eevee evolution to represent, dragons, medieval battles, right? Creatures. And then also, right? There is a direct interaction with the Dragon type and the Fairy type. That's something else. Like all of these evolutions that get introduced, they have a relation to each other, right? Dark beats Psychic. Ice beats Grass. You get it. So to see Dragon get introduced would have been really cool. But I also think a Steel type would have worked really well as an Eevee evolution, because a Steel type also has an interaction with Sylveon. And a Steel type is also like armor. So you have like this idea of like a knight versus a dragon versus a fairy creature, a fey creature. So there's this it all plays together very nicely. And we could have got that in Generation 8. But I think the very best next thing is that we get a new Eevee evolution in Pokemon Legends Galar. This game is slated to, let's see right here. There is a Game Freak, an internal Game Freak timeline. L3 right here, Legends 3. Tentatively, they're going to start working on it. Actually, they are currently working on the next Legends game. And I guess it would be slated to come out probably in 2027. I guess if Legends ZA came out in 2025, 2027, maybe 2026 would make sense. Because 2027, maybe 28 would make sense. 2020 this year actually, it's 2026. We're getting Generation 10. Maybe we get DLC the next year, and then maybe we get, early 2028, we get this Legends Galar game. Or it could be scrapped altogether, but I think a Dragon type would be so sick. This design right here by Hoops and Hip Hop is one of my favorites. Let's see if I can get a better, higher quality design right here. I just love it so much because it still looks like an Eevee evolution. I do think, over time, I do think the colors are so great. Like, I do think the colors are so great. Like, it has these horns. What would be fur on any other Eevee evolution is reinterpreted into almost like scales in a similar way that like Jolteon's fur looks very spiky. We see that with this design, which I like. I do think its tail is pretty cool. It's like kind of like it's a little like what's the word I'm looking for? Not like a lizard, but like it's reptilian. It's very reptilian. I do think there's some other designs though that we could definitely see where maybe it takes inspiration from like a Chinese dragon, or I don't know. I've seen a lot of designs over the years where it could still maintain its fur, its fuzz, but still have like dragon energy. This one's pretty cool right here. And all of my favorites are just not pulling up for some reason. I love this one right here because it still looks like a feline. It kind of looks like Kind of looks like a little bit of an alien, maybe like a little bit of a fox. But it still has this fur. You know how like in The Legend of Zelda, yeah, let's look that up real quick. Legend Zelda, what is it? Legend of Zelda, or no, what was it? TOTK dragon. Yeah, these dragons right here, basically like Zelda. Spoiler alert. They have all sorts of crazy features in them. They are a Chinese dragon where they're like serpentine, but they have antlers. Their horns are like that of a stag. They have these like weird alien eyes on them, right? They have fur like a deer. They even have feathers. They have like this mane of feathers, which is really cool. And that's kind of what I want to see with an Eevee evolution. I want to see kind of a chimera. I want to see a fusion of a lot of different aspects kind of brought together to convey this mystical being. I don't literally want a dragon, like a European dragon, to take the place of an Eevee. Eevee is a feline. And as we've seen over the years, any Pokemon can be a dragon type. So to see Eevee getting the dragon type, it still needs to look like an Eeveelution. And I think that makes sense. I think we could see that. Especially because dragons in history have been depicted as all sorts of creatures, not just like a fire-breathing dragon, right? Although Wyveon right here is pretty tough. I like this one as well. There's so many cool designs. Oh, this is my favorite right here. I don't even remember who does this one. Oh, this is Start Boy. Start Boy does this one, and I think it's so tough. You got it again, very, very serpentine, where you can imagine it kind of like floating, just like in the region. Very cool. But also, a steel Eeveelution would be so tough. And we've seen a lot of designs like this where it kind of looks like a knight. And I think we could see that. I've seen versions of it where it looks like a gear. I've also seen some where it looks a little bit more like a liquid metal. And that I think could also work. I haven't really thought of this design too much, but I think for a medieval region, it would make sense to see some aspects of... This one's actually really, really good. This one's actually so good. I actually like this a lot. This is by Bennett Shiny. Shout out to them. This is actually so good because they interpret the fluffy tail of this Eevee evolution as the red plume that would be on a knight's helmet. And it has this scaled armor all over its body. The scales on its like forehead as well are reminiscent of the crest that is on Glaceon's head. It also kind of looks like a crown, right? If this is a knight, then we're talking about kings and queens. And this is what I would want to see in my ideal Galar, Pokemon Legends Galar game. Like I made a concept trailer for Pokemon Legends Galar. I'm so proud of this project, and it's so cool because my ideal Legends Galar game would take place in the Crown Tundra, which is Scotland. You'd get a new set of starters. You'd travel the region. I would want to catch an Eevee and then evolve it into some of these awesome designs right here. And honestly, I'm currently working on that, and I'm hoping to actually develop some 3D video depicting those Eevee evolutions. I think it's such a fun idea and a missed opportunity, but it would feel so good that the Generation 8 game that they kind of skipped over, they're actually going to come back to that same region and give us those Eevee evolutions, which actually, you know what would be kind of cool? Those evolutions would be within Generation 10, which is also an even... Yeah, that makes sense. We got Generation 2, Generation 4, Generation 6, all getting new Eevee evolutions. Generation 8, we got a bunch of stuff like Gigantamax forms, yada, yada. Eevee was a mascot for an entire Pokemon game, but it's not an evolution. And then in Generation 10, we get new Eevee evolutions by paying homage to Generation 8. So it's like, maybe it all comes out in the wash. Let me know what you think. Do you want to see a new Eevee evolution? Do you care? Do you think Eevee is overrated? I think some of these designs could be super sick. And the ones I just showed you would actually be pretty high on my list. I'm ready. Like, one more shred of evidence is that all of the Eevee evolutions are what were once classified as an elemental type, a special type. They all all these types did damage from a Pokemon's special attack. That's like gens 1 and 2 and 3. Like, that's how mechanically it worked. And so all of these types were special. The only one we're missing is Dragon. So Dragon's got to happen. And then I want to see Rock, Flying, Steel, Poison, Ghost. I want to see all of those. Fighting, Normal. I'm speechless. Subscribe. Thank you.